Did you know this? Adventuremaxxing is really just a code word for doing what you want to do. It doesn't get much simpler than that, really. Too many people, so many people, you see them every day in the checkout line at the grocery store, baby. You see them driving their cars, sitting at the red light. You see people who just are not doing things that they want to do. All right. I just saw the story, heard the story really, of a family in Vermont who purchased farm land on a steep hill and started by building a log cabin with no money, with their last dollars, and now have a farm that generates, $250,000 a year, able to live a comfortable life. They've built several other homes on this property. That's just living the adventure. If that ain't doing the things that you want to do, I don't know what is. So many people, they wait for permission and they say, wow, this is so unfeasible, or that's so unfeasible. It's unfeasible for me to do this. If you talk like that, by the way, shut the fuck up already, because you're only doing yourself a disservice. You got to believe that you can actually live the adventure you want. You got to believe that the things that you want are within your grasp at all times. Because otherwise, I mean, how can you live in a world where you constantly think things are behind doors, they're not possible? You're like, it's like you're in line for a roller coaster when you're a kid and you're below the height limit and they're like, you can't get on the ride. It's not actually how life works. In real life, you can have a discussion with the guy. You can say, maybe I can get on the ride. Maybe I should be on the ride. Have you ever thought about that? And then sometimes he lets you on the ride. So these things are very negotiable. These things that we want, these little adventures, quests, visions, goals we have for ourselves, they're negotiable. Really, reality itself is negotiable. If you want something, you need to put in a little work to bring it into existence. Don't get me wrong there. But these things are possible and doable, but people won't go on adventures. They won't do the things they want to do because they say, well, geez, that's pretty hard. Oh, geez, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if I can do that. You ever set a goal for yourself, you know? You ever had a concrete mark, like, I'm going to do this by this time? If you have, you've noticed that a lot of the times it works. You notice that it's not out of reach for you to hit things, objectives that you previously thought were, kind of insane or silly or whatever. If you write something down and put your mind to it, put your brain to it, it almost seems like the universe conspires with you to achieve these things. So when it comes to just doing something you want to do, and by the way, don't take this the wrong way. Well, I want to do drugs. Listen, all right, don't be an idiot. We all know, you know what I'm talking about. If I'm you, I'm probably not talking to you watching this video, but there's always some tongue in cheek clown. Well, what if I want to, blah 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 blah. Some really illegal shit or something of that nature. Well, don't do that, all right? But if there's something you want to do, just do it. Just adventure max a little bit, all right? Life's about doing what you want to do, all right? It's not so serious. When we get caught up in our jobs and responsibilities, yeah, they're important and there's, maybe even consequences to them, but it's also not that serious, all right? If you ever had someone near you pass away, you would realize, and if you have, you know what I'm talking about, but you realize that all these things that we take so seriously are in fact kind of trivial because it can all be taken away at a moment. And once you have that perspective, it's like, why wouldn't I spend every waking moment of my life doing something I want to do, putting myself in a place I want to be? Bro, if you don't like your job, you can just leave it, all right? You have a contract where they pay you and you show up, but you can just not show up. There's trillions of dollars floating around on the earth. You're telling me you can't find enough of them to pay your rent if you really hate where you're at so badly? So it's pretty silly to me that people find themselves in these stupid situations, lives that they hate, and they just refuse to do a single GD thing about it, baby. I mean, they just refuse to do anything about it because I don't know, they take it too seriously, or really they've lost that spirit of adventure. They've lost that quest, you know. That they've lost that just like that like they need Gandalf to show up knocking on their door like Frodo Baggins or Bilbo Baggins too and be like, "Bah, bah, 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 bah. Hey, Bilbo, we need you to, you're the perfect guy for this job. We need you to sneak into Smaug's lair and take his treasure." "Man, I don't want to do that, Gandalf." And then he comes back and he's like, "You must do it." Maybe I'm kind of mixing up my movies. Maybe we all need somebody like that, all right? But maybe I or somebody else, more likely somebody else, because I'm a man with 8 subscribers on YouTube. But just hear that message, all right? That play, that adventure, that doing things you want to do because it's your life, all right? You're the only one ultimately responsible for your outcomes in life. No one else is responsible for you. Oh, this is electric. Dog's taking a poop. This is just big news because I'm going to go to the office that I chose to be at, that I actually love working at, in a couple minutes. But we want to make sure that little buddy's not just pooping all over the ground in the house while I'm gone. So that's kind of, this is 2 birds with 1 stone. Film video, but also let the boys kind of roam free for a little bit, guaranteed. People just put themselves in these stupid situations they don't want to be in. It baffles me. It's just baffling, dude. It's really just baffling. What a gift it is to be able to do whatever you want. If you want to, you know, study investments, you can go make money in the stock market today. You know, you could put in $5 on Robinhood app and you can start making money, you know, researching stocks, trading stocks, writing about the information you find. Maybe you find some little alpha, you know, and you're able to share that with others and blah blah blah. Before you know it, you're, you know, if not a proper financial professional, maybe you're self-certified or whatever, you're somebody who's really building himself. You're somebody who's taking an interest and turning it into something real. If you know, want to be a gardener, but you live in a city apartment, just buy a plant pot, 2 plant pots, a plant bed. Maybe you try growing some little greens, some little broccolini, you know, a little something nice to, a little herbs, accoutrements for your dinner. Maybe that's where you start the adventure, all right? Maybe that's where you start the adventure. But when it comes to doing things you want to do, nobody's going to walk up to you and be like, "Hey, heard you wanted to do this. Here it is, laid out for you on a silver platter," all right? Listen, Santa Claus is a great story, but there is no magic man in the sky who brings you gifts down the chimney. You got to go seek it. You got to go forage for it. You got to go find it. You got to channel the hunter-gatherer spirit, the adventurer spirit, the Magellan spirit, and say, not even nobody's ever done this, I should do it. Just say, I've never done this, I should do it. Just say, here's something that I enjoy doing, I should do it. I'm going to work on my craft for a little while. So here's something too, if you have a hobby you love, that's Adventuremaxxing too. Because listen, a great swordsman or a great, like, you know, let's just use a great swordsman as an example. You see these guys in movies like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, right? And it's like, wow, this guy's like a, you know, warrior, he's an adventurer, whatever. There's a lot of training that goes into that. There's a lot of work that goes into that too, all right? So if there's a hobby you enjoy or something, yeah, maybe the grand vision or quest doesn't take place on day one. Maybe you're a little bored with your life and you're like, I want to get somewhere. I just don't know how to get there, blah, 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 blah. Listen, there's a training montage first, all right? Don't get ahead of your skis here. That's how you fall face first in the powder and break your face, okay? What you got to do is just understand and respect that good things take time, that you may have to put a lot of practice in, your own personal adventure training montage behind the scenes, and then boom, before you know it, your eyes are opened and you're like, wait, I do live a fantastic and awesome life because I was just always pursuing, relentlessly and doggedly pursuing those things that I wanted to do at all times. It really is. I mean, I think people either get hasty or they just don't think they can do it. They just don't think they can have fun. They just don't think that they are allowed somehow to pursue anything that they want. It's bananas. It's bogus, is what it is. It's pretty bogus, but that's the human condition. And you got a lot of clowns out there who just don't know. I mean, who just haven't ever thought. Like, people who just listen. I mean, people perceive it as like risky. Like, oh, like I hate my job, but it's so risky if I leave. Like, it's so risky. Like, blah 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 blah. Or people won't even have a job, and they'll be like, it's so risky starting a YouTube channel, bro. I don't want to post my face. What if something happens? Blah, blah, blah. It's so risky doing this, blah, blah, blah. What if your life just fucking sucks and you don't do it? Have you ever thought about that, you idiot? Come on. It's so tired and old. Those people who just give these BS excuses to why they can't live a life they want. It's like, have you ever fucking tried? God damn. It's sad is what it is. It brings a single tear to my eye. Rolls down my cheek, you know? But it's crazy, you know? So you just got to adventure max a little bit. You just got to say, like, listen, this is my life and I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to live it like a quest. I'm going to just get out there in the mix and do, all right? And be. I'm going to just get out there and live vibrantly, you know? I'm just going to appreciate each moment for the blessing that it is, and I'm going to give it my full dedication, zest, and zeal in life. Once you attack the world this way, dude, you're Adventuremaxxing full time, because it's really a mindset more so than a specific quest or adventure. It's a mindset. So that's what it's about. It's not a particularly long message today, but maybe it's an impactful one, dude. Build yourself up. Go through your own little training montage. Focus on these little habits and these little exciting, not even habits, little moments, these things that excite you. Chase that passion every day, all right? Chase it and find it. This is your life, you know? So live it in a manner that pleases you, that makes you excited, you know? That makes you feel like the great adventurer that you are. Adventure Max, baby.